So I want to talk about the workplace, and specifically with your experience working various jobs or whatever. What makes a good workplace and what makes a poor workplace, and which ones do you see to be more profitable?
Okay, well, from my experience, I would say a happy environment.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is not only the customer's happy, because most workplaces would assume that that's main priority, but the employees as well. And it sounds like such a common...
Sounds basic, doesn't it?
It sounds very basic and sounds like every workplace tries to achieve it, but that's not true.
Right, you have
Like-
bosses on power trips.
Yep, exactly. And I mean, bosses, we're talking everyone from owners to lower level management.
Yep.
Who think that, all right, I've got this bit of power, let's kind of dick on everyone, really. But in terms of a happy environment, like, I'll give you an example. In a retail clothes store, we used to have the best time. And that's because not only did we all get along, which always helps, but there was an aspect of freedom to the job. So with the customers, clearly we had to help them at all times when possible. But with them, we're allowed to open dialogue and have conversations with them.
Yeah.
So it wasn't...
And do you think they appreciate that?
Yeah, and they wanted to participate in that chat. So, and it's not just, oh, can I help you with anything?
Right.
You can bring up other things, and it opened a dialogue, and it was just friendly conversations. And when that wasn't something that was frowned upon by certain managers,
So
then
not everyone allowed it. There were some managers who said,
No.
Let's not do it like this.
Yeah, no, and what happened was it was just a complete different sense of, oh, when do we finish? What time?
Right.
What time are we going home? Just basically counting the seconds on the clock, essentially, till the work finishes. So,
Which is crazy to think that the perception is that we have to be at work and we have to be having a miserable time because it's work. When why don't we try and make the best of it? You know, why do we not go out of our way to try and have the best time possible in considering?
but even when you say that, my mind instantly goes to, yeah, but then what about work? But it's like, well, you can do both.
Yeah.
And that's the shit thing which so many people don't realise, but particularly in franchises,
Yeah.
because they've got their set rules right from the top. So when the owners buy the business, they've only got very limited freedom, really, to work within how everything operates. So when you're in those businesses, it's like you're kind of just this little robot that just does everything that you're supposed to do.
It's a good word for it, robot. Feeling like a robot, like, I mean, I've been in jobs like this too, where it's a horrible feeling, like anyone could be doing what you're doing, you're not really adding much value to anyone, and you hate being there, like you are there because you have to be, because you have to earn money.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's a terrible thing, like, I mean, this goes on to the point that, like, I mean, I find it, and I know you do as well, find it better to work for a purpose.
Yeah.
How's that impacted the way you enjoy your work?
Well, ever since turning the age to work, I've always had some form of a job, and from, I'd probably say 4 of those years was working, maybe 3 to 4 of those years was working just for the sake of working.
Right.
So you could do kind of little extra things here and there, but it was nothing, you weren't really working towards anything other than the weekend
Yeah,
or the
there's
next weekend.
There was no master plan.
Yeah, there was no master plan, and I think that kind of when I was working at a factory job, which was nearly for a year, I can remember about, I'll probably say 2 full weeks of days
Right, out of a whole year.
out of nearly a whole year,
Right,
just because everything was just the same
so monotonous.
and nothing was, it was just about getting the job done, and it wasn't about making sure, okay, employees are happy while the same amount of work is getting done.
Yeah,
I'm not
more.
talking, I'm not talking about giving up work so the employees are happy. That's the whole point of businesses.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like, I get that, but you can do both at the same time.
yeah,
And you want to be there.
yeah.
When you enjoy that environment, you want to be there.
And I've found too, when you've got something in mind, like you're at work for a reason, like obviously for me, the end goal of work is to start something entrepreneurial and do something that I think has a greater purpose in the world. But if you are working a job, working at someone else's business, it's nice to have some target in your head for something that is going to impact someone or a group of people in a better way. Like, I mean, I'm working now towards building a business. I'm working to fund this other business. So work all of a sudden isn't so hard for me.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. And all that had changed between you working that same job before and now is
Purpose.
yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. Which essentially all it is when you're actually in that workplace is your mental state,
Exactly.
isn't it?
And I know that you worked towards a overseas trip once, and I mean that was completely different for you, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that instantly changed how I was in that exact same workplace.
Yeah.
So after I decided, okay, this is how much money that I needed, the next day for the same job I'd been working for a year beforehand, and it was just instantly better.
Your enjoyment levels changed overnight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You were happy to be there because you knew, okay, well, this is working towards that.
Yeah.
You can even count things off,
Yeah.
as in, particularly if it is something like a trip overseas, you can go, okay, well, that's those flights paid for, or
Yeah.
certain accommodation, or I mean, it's just changing not only the workplace to make the employees happier from a higher up point of view, but for what you can do if you feel like you are a robot,
Right.
is change that mental state, work towards something.
Okay, so let's compare productivity in these times. I mean, because it all sounds, all well and good, but people might turn around and say, well, productivity goes down. What's your findings with that? Like in the jobs that you've had, when you've been working for a purpose versus working for the sake of working.
Okay, well, for example, when I wasn't working for anything in particular, I would kind of mope around, you could say, and I would go to areas of the store where I knew the manager couldn't see me, and I just tried to literally waste the minutes away
Yeah.
just by thinking elsewhere
Right.
and not on the task.
Yeah.
Whereas when I was working towards something, I was happy to be there. So everything that I was meant to do at that time
Wasn't a big deal.
wasn't a big deal, and I did it. And not only did I do it, but I made the best of it.
Right.
So I had a good time while doing it.
Yeah.